Okay, so it's the end of the month. Hopefully we're nearing the end of a long lockdown. For a lot of people, money's pretty tight, especially those who haven't been able to go to work for a while. Today I'm going back to the Nintendo eShop to find out whether I can have any amount of fun with games costing £1, $1 to $2, or €1 and under. Looking at the eShop as a whole, you'll notice that most of the games in this price range are sale games, usually with some ridiculous percentage off. However, there are games on the Switch that are always ridiculously cheap. For the sake of this video, I've decided to take 5 videos that are always ridiculously cheap and 5 games that are currently on sale to see if I can muster any amount of fun from any of them. Just as an FYI, I've taken sale games that have at least 10 days left on sale in case you feel like picking them up. That being said, I do tend to find that many of the sale games, especially when they come down this far in price, frequently reappear in the sale list. So if you're watching this video a little later and the game is currently not on sale, chances are it will be soon, so keep checking. Also, if you put the game on your watch list on your account, you can get notified when the game goes on sale again, which is a pretty handy feature, and I use it all the time. Truth is, I don't really have any expectations. From my experience in life, generally you get what you pay for. But I am here to be surprised, so let's get started. The first game I had to play with was Ant-Gravity Tiny's Adventure, which is a 2D puzzle platformer. The story appears to be like an ant living in an ant farm when your human owner decides to scoop you up and place you in another area of the ant farm for reasons not explained. The first thing that really struck me with this game was its very uninspired visuals. Sort of looks like somebody's gone a bit mad with clip art on a Windows 97 computer. Sadly, it's not a good looking game. The level design as a whole is almost uncomfortably attractive, and sadly, the visuals don't improve as the game goes on. Also, I lasted a whole minute and a half with the music and sound effects, I then put it on mute. It's annoying. The main pull of the game is really the gameplay. You, as Tiny the Ant, are able to manipulate the levels by turning them in order to solve puzzles to get to the next area. I actually found this part of the game quite fun and a little different to other 2D adventure games. Throughout the levels you collect sweets because, I don't know, maybe ants love sweets. Each level also has a purple sweet which is harder to find and counts as a bonus collectible in each level. Gives the game a bit of replayability, which is quite nice. The bosses as well are actually not too bad. Again, you defeat them by manipulating the environment in different ways, turning them. There are another couple of little nitpicks aside from the visuals. There's no map in any of the levels, so every now and then I find myself dying, respawning and wandering the wrong way. Also, what really irked me, if you pick up a bonus, the purple sweet, then die, even after hitting a checkpoint, you lose the bonus. Bit of a stupid design flaw. Overall, I'd say there's a bit of fun to be had with this game if you squint and put your hands over your ears. That's what you want to do when you're playing a game. The first of my games on sale for under £1 is the truly unique fighting game, One Strike. Closing the name really of what this game's all about, you, as a choice of 6 ninja warriors, fight another ninja warrior. What differs this game from others is the one-hit kill mechanic. My plan of action in most fighter games is to bash all the buttons and hope I win. Sadly, this method is less effective in this game, especially if you set the difficulty anything above easy or fight anybody who's played the game before. This game is more reactionary. You have to feel out your enemy and strike at just the right time to deliver that killer blow. The 2D pixel art style actually looks kind of cool. When choosing your character, you get a full illustration of the character you're picking, which is nice. Then when you fight, you get a 2D sprite version. I'd say the visuals are perfect for this kind of game. It's not a game that you play for a long period of time, more as if you've got a few minutes to kill. Sorry about the pun. There is a multiplayer here which is great. This kind of game is the perfect way to get into an argument with a loved one. Really is a unique take on the fighter genre and a lovely little game if you've got a measly amount of money lying about. If you've got a deep desire to play a game that gives you an intense epileptic fit, then look no further. Maddening Euphoria is an endless platformer with incredibly flashy visuals. So flashy that it might be a bit of a challenge to play for a long period of time. According to Nintendo's website, you control brother and sister duet Mason and Millicent Zane as they flee from their own imagined realisation of their troubles in life, an inescapable wall of death. I do find the narrative quite funny and definitely pretentious. To be fair, you could quite easily come up with your own narrative around who these people are and what you're running away from. The fact that these characters have names and a desire to flee their own imagined realisation of their troubles in life it's not really relevant. The reality is you're a man or a woman running away from a black line in a circle. But then again, I guess that description wouldn't sell many games, so there we go. The gameplay works, as you can see here, by running around a fixed point as platforms and obstacles appear in front of you. You've got to avoid falling to the abyss, hitting spikes, or being caught by the inescapable wall of death. The game is responsive and performs very well. I personally don't really know how much I enjoyed the gameplay mechanic. Maybe I haven't played it enough to get used to it, or maybe I'm just terrible at it, I don't know. But the fact that you can only see the platforms and spikes very last second threw me off a little bit. The music fits the visuals, it's got kind of an EDM vibe about it. You can also change the visuals and music by choosing themes which are available from the start, which is a nice touch. There's also challenges to give you a sense of completion and different modes such as hopping mode and double speed mode. Overall, I found that the game felt very mobile phone-esque, to be honest. I think it would be perfect as a mobile game. However, if you enjoy endless runners, I see no reason why you won't enjoy this one. Again though, it is very flashy. Of all the games that I thought I'd end up really enjoying, Akani wasn't really the one that I thought would pull me in. Not because of its visuals, or its premise really, but gameplay wise I'm not the most versed in arena style one kill slash games. This one however kept me coming back and trying just one more time. The idea is that you, Akani, are trying to stay alive for as long as you possibly can using a katana and gun and a quick sprint. The gameplay is fast and ferocious and relies on quick thinking and reactions. You really have to master the moves if you want to stay alive for more than a few seconds. It honestly took me a while just to get to the first boss encounter of the game, which happens after killing 100 enemies. As you play each round, you start to cross off increasingly difficult objectives that are given to you on the main screen. One thing I think might have been improved a little bit with this game is the idea that the first objective in the game is actually really quite difficult. Would have been nice to start off a little easier with the objectives and have a slightly less steep learning curve just to keep people invested. I could just be rubbish at it though, but that's what it felt like. The steep difficulty may put some people off. By completing objectives and building HP, you start to unlock different gear and equipment to help you in your next battle. For example, you can get a quicker katana or faster running shoes that help you sprint faster. There is also a training area in this game which I highly recommend to anyone, as it really helped me get used to the mechanic of the game. Now, it's not the most varied game. In terms of setting variety, there really isn't any. But as I said before, I found myself playing for much longer than I thought I would with that one more try mentality. I think it's definitely one to check out if you like the look of what you're seeing here. Mr. Trials is a Trials bike game. It's got sort of a Minecrafty cubist look to it. Visually I actually quite like it. The environments are kind of cool and soothing. The game's got 50 levels. Level variety is pretty good, and the way that the difficulty increases as you play through the game feels pretty natural. As with many of these kind of games, including FYI Urban Trials Playground, which I did a review on a few weeks ago, it works with a star-based system. The quicker you get through the level, the more stars you get. You can also collect coins to unlock some varying character skins, which are a fun little addition. You can also perform stunts to gather points. If you get enough points, you get a gold helmet in each level. It's just an added incentive if you want to go back and collect them. The only real issue I had with the game was because of the simplistic graphics, it can be quite hard to know how far you're leaning backwards or forwards. In Urban Trials Playground, for example, when you lean backwards and forwards, it's pretty discernible by looking at the character. This game it's not, so you'll find yourself leaning backwards and forwards without even realising it at times, and fall to your doom. Overall though, it's not a bad little game. Fair amount of fun to be had here. I should probably tell you now though, that you can get this game for free on an iPhone or a phone, and I think it plays a little bit crisper, to be honest. If, however, you really want to play it on the telly with tactile buttons, the Switch version does just fine. Escape Dudeland is a runner/platformer which has such a cool and individual art style. Now, I was instantly attracted to this game thanks to the hand-drawn, comic, fantastical artistry. Escape Dudeland sees you, as a description I found online calls him, a doodler trying to escape Dudeland. I mean, the clue's in the name. To be honest, the story doesn't really matter. Just know you're a little animal creature trying to get away from a big angry monster. To do so, the controls are pretty simple. You can jump and double jump, climb up walls and boost either away from the monster, or you also have the option to fart in the monster's face to stun him for a short time, which is interesting. The simple controls keeps the experience streamlined and lets you enjoy the visuals of the game. Now, it's definitely not an easy game. In fact, it can get quite brutal. You have to time your jumps at times to perfection and utilise the boost mechanic only when it's needed. There are checkpoints along each level which, believe me, the first time you play it, you'll need. You also only have 3 hearts, so can only get caught 3 times in a particular section before being made to go back to the start of the level. Happened to me way more times than I would like to admit. Also, along the way, you have to keep your eye out for little beans, which will either aid towards unlocking future levels or give you credit to unlock power-ups. Sadly, I didn't realise you could actually get power-ups until pretty late in the game, which is a bit annoying. I should probably tell you that, to be fair. For the reduced price, the game is more than worth it for somebody who likes a little bit of a challenge and enjoys runner-type platformers with stunning graphics. I'll be honest, I had way more fun with this game than I ever expected. Told myself before I made this video that I really wasn't going to mention price so much and look at each individual game in itself. But it's pretty hard not to play this title without acknowledging that this game is less than £1, or a couple of dollars, or €1. I'll say right away that this game is a port of a mobile game with in-app purchases for you to unlock different characters. The Switch version of Smash Club Streets of Shmeenis takes all the gameplay and characters and environments from the mobile port gets rid of microtransactions, and gives the player the ability to unlock characters and outfits through gameplay alone. Which is great, really. Smash Club is a 2.5D beat-em-up that sees you fight numerous enemies to take back control of the streets of Boot City. Along the way, you'll earn coins to unlock up to 48 characters, each with their own character and moveset. The character variety is a lot of fun and a real highlight of the game. You can also upgrade the weapons that randomly drop during your playthrough. The gameplay is very reminiscent of like a Streets of Rage game or the recent Scott Pilgrim re-release. It's actually a lot of fun. The environments are unique. It's pretty cool that you can interact with parts of the background as well and throw them at your enemies. And there's a multiplayer which lets you play 4-player co-op. My only real gripe with this particular game is that it's a little bit of a shame there's no block button. It can be a little bit overwhelming when there's 5 or more enemies around you. Also, it's not the most polished game in the world. However, for its price, I honestly think this game is a real gem and well worth your time if you enjoy these types of games. Ubermusch Santicide is a twin-stick overhead shooter that is apparently part of a series of Ubermusch games. Upon a quick glance, I deduce that there are 2 others on the system, Ubermusch Black and Ubermusch Amiga. Thing is, I haven't played them, so I can't comment on those. Apparently though, the series does have a bit of a cult following. I mean, they've had 6 Ubermusch games in total, so I guess some people have got to like them, really. The game revolves around you as the player running around like a madman trying to avoid enemy attacks and shooting and swording enemies away. Each round is 90 seconds long, and by lasting 90 seconds in the arena, you slowly begin to cross off the challenges as presented on the front screen. Aesthetically, I think the game looks brill. It's got a sort of cyberpunk 2D visual style. The contrast between the dark setting of the arena and the light show that is the weapons and ammunition work really great. Now, the game is brutally hard. I am not good at this game. 90 seconds honestly feels like a lifetime. What I will say is also good about the game is the level of customization of each round, which apparently is not as apparent in previous Ubermusch games. I haven't really got my head around all the different weapons, but there are a few of them. If you would like a more comprehensive review of the customization options and the game as a whole, I highly recommend watching Star or Shovelware's review of the game. I'll leave a link in the description to his video. You should also definitely subscribe to his channel if you want thorough reviews of some of the lesser known games available on the eShop. This kind of game is not for everybody. If you do like these kind of games, however, it's definitely worth picking up for the price as a quick sort of pick up and play title. Now, I'm honestly not sure really where I stand with the next game. On the one hand, one person's story is quite a calming, very simplistic, yet at times quite engaging puzzle game. On the other, it does feel a little bit pretentious at times. The way in which the game plays is that at each level, the game is narrated and almost leads you through different life lessons as you work your way through each section. So, for example, there may be an area where you have to break through a wall with your ball. The game narrates it as something like, sometimes you have to break through barriers to get to your destination. In my opinion, it just felt at times it was trying a little bit too hard to be clever. That being said, the levels and audio design are quite soothing. I sort of get what they were going for, but I think there are games that address this kind of subject matter a little bit better and more thoughtfully. Maybe take a look at something like Celeste, which tackles mental health, which is really good. The gameplay is incredibly simple and works with just one button. This one button will either make barriers or sinister spikes appear and disappear, or change the pull of the ball to one side of the level. It's actually quite surprising how many different kinds of puzzles you can come up with a one-button game. One-person story does variety pretty well and keeps the difficulty ever increasing throughout. Overall, the game works just fine as a puzzler. It does admittedly feel a little bit like a mobile phone game, but it does play well enough on the Switch. For me though, it maybe doesn't quite sit well as the life lesson based experience it was going for. If you enjoy reading or have ever played old text-based games, this last one might be the perfect game for you. Swordbreaker is a story-driven text adventure. It sees you, the imaginatively named The Adventurer, working your way through a ghost, alien, vampire-ridden castle. With each frame you're given a choice of how you want to proceed and what you want to do next. Sadly, quite a lot of decisions will lead to your death and doom. You have to try and make it to the end of the adventure without succumbing to your doom 3 times. If you do, you start the game all over. Now, a lot of games claim to give you a choice as to how your adventure will play out. This game really does lean itself to this mechanic and runs with it. Each frame of the game is drawn beautifully as you work your way through the castle. There are a lot of rooms, many different scenarios and many different characters to meet along the way. I'll be honest, I did find the game a bit of potluck most of the time. I found that many of the decisions I thought were righteous and noble ones got me killed quite a lot. What that means is it's probably best to think as a knight and not try and be too nice. The audio blends well with the background and kind of goes under the radar until you die. Then there's like a horrible groan. So try not to die because it's horrible. It's loud. This game is not going to be for everybody. As I say, for someone who reads a lot and enjoy text-based adventures, this game would be perfect for you. So in answer to whether you can find fun with a game £1, $1 to $2 or €1 and under on the Nintendo eShop, well, yes. Now obviously you're not going to find a AAA game for anywhere near that price on the Switch, but I can honestly say you can find some unique and varied games for the price of less than a coffee. I definitely did. And with different deals appearing on the eShop all the time, it's always good to keep check. Out of this list of games I've looked at, none of the games were absolute disasters. But there were a couple that really stood out to me, which were Akani and Smash Club Streets of Shmeenis. Smash Club is one of those games that you can get under £1 at any time, which is great. Yes, a couple of the games do have that mobile phony feel. On the Switch you get tactile buttons, and for these games at least, no microtransactions. That's lovely. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you've enjoyed it, please feel free to subscribe and like this video. Also hit the little bell icon if you want to get notified of future videos. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.